Right, so welcome back. Today we have a new job. Something that a lot of people talk about doing on their front loaders. And a lot of people, when they see me first get a front loader, suggested that I needed to do this with mine. Soft ride or soft drive, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, there's a little upgrade you can do, I think, to most loaders. This is a quickie loader, by the way. It just might have a lovely Massey Ferguson badge, but don't let it fool you, it is a quickie loader. Let's say, for instance, you're going along on this tractor at the moment and you're travelling along the road. Even if you've nothing on the loader, you'll always get a bounce. The loader will bounce up and down. All that bouncing is driven right into the chassis of the tractor and goes right through the whole tractor. That can leave a nasty little bounce in the tractor. It can leave parts to wear very quickly as well. The soft drive or soft ride or whatever you want to call it basically acts like a pair of shock absorbers. Same as in your car. You're driving along, this here will bounce up and down, and instead of being rigid fixed to the chassis of the tractor and the tractor taking out the strain through the tyres or the chassis or whatever, this system will take it out of the loader before it gets to the tractor. All it really is, two little accumulators basically is the right name for them. We'll get a universal kit. You might have to bore a hole in the side of your loader to fit it or something like that. The one we got kind of came with the tractor. Didn't get it that day, but we got it a week later. Dermot, the guy we bought it off at Johnson's, the last tractor, I meant to do it and I didn't do it. And you know what, this is a new start. Let's just put it on now, because if I'm putting the long finger, I'll not do it. So I said, go off and price how much they are, find out and let me know. He rang me a couple of days later and said, would you put on a second-hand one? Because we have a loader sitting out the back, the very same as what you have. I think it was an 897, would that be right? 895, maybe 895, exact same loader. It's a bit rough around the edges. I don't know if the accumulators work. I haven't a clue, but if you want it, take it with you. There's a good chance it'll not work. At least you can give it a go. On this loader, apart from the shear grab here, there's a bracket there. So the new soft drive we've got, because it's for this loader, will bolt straight onto that. I don't have to drill any holes or nothing. It's going to be a very, very easy fit. You know what, the accumulators are the expensive part. I don't know how much it'd be to put a soft drive on this here. 250 upwards, would that be right? I don't know. I haven't got a price on the new. But one thing I do like to got on this old one is it has the bracket. It has the right bracket for the loader. So if I have to go out and buy a couple of accumulators, I'll do that. At least I have the bracket, if that makes sense. One thing we do have to do is we have to prepare for a storm, because I'm just after looking at my phone. It looks like we're going to get a nice little touch of wind. So tomorrow morning, 6, 7 o'clock is supposed to come in. We're not supposed to get too bad. Galway, Mayo, we're simply going to get 120, 130 kilometres an hour. And that's pretty strong wind for around here. So we're further inland. We're not supposed to be hit too hard. But at the same time, I always find the storms you spend ages preparing for seem to always come and go, and they don't seem to be all that bad. The one you don't prepare for always seems to catch you out. It seems to be a lot stronger, and that's all that's been the luck of the draw with us. So we're going to take some precautions that need to be taken home. So when I get these two bales home, which I'm doing now, we're going to get home and we're going to get straight into that. So we'll get these bales home and we'll pick it up there. Now we're back home. A lot of you guys mentioned to me something about this mower and the fact that it's sitting up, it'd be a real wind catcher. And you know something, you're absolutely 100% right. It's definitely something I need to address, because that there is just looking to get tossed. So what I have to do is move some of this machinery out of the way, put a couple of things inside over there, and get this mower, move it up and lay it down flat, because it should be down flat, because that there, you could tie it, I suppose, to the silage pit barriers if I wanted to, but it's just dangerous, and it's better down the ground if we can get it down. So that's what we're going to do first. Let's get at it. Right, so it's night time, it's just before milking time. And before I start, you can see here now I have the Massey and the 2,000 gallon tank in front of this shed, the whole way across the front of it. You might have always seen in our videos, might have wondered why there's ratchet straps always hanging from this roof in different places. There's not many here now at the minute, but I will be putting them back on again. There's a simple reason for that. Back in 94, 95, with a really bad storm once in Stephen's night, and I came up here after the storm and realised this house was quite bright. And we didn't have any skylights in this house, and it became very obvious that half the roof was missing. And if you look up here, I don't know if you can see it in the light, but you can see here old timber this side, new timber on this side, and this part of the roof here just completely, you might see the division there. If you run up along there, that's what the new shed part of the shed is, and that's what the old part of the roof is. Well, this whole section here just lifted clean off and landed on the hill above, all just whipped straight off. It's a house that's very vulnerable to wind. We have these kind of holes here, blocks that are cavity blocks that were kind of torn on their edge, just to let wind out, because it's important to get the wind out. That's where it gets caught, is where it lifts the roof. But there's not enough. One way to solve it would be put doors in the front of this. How you do that, I don't know, because there's no wall to put on a sliding door, or perhaps you could have a door. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't like to have big opening doors because it'd be deadly dangerous, but I just don't know how you go about doing it. But it would be something to be great. It'd close this shed down completely, and it would stop the need to have to tie the roof down because the wind couldn't get in. This roof is well strapped down. It is well bolted down onto these ESB poles and all, but it's still vulnerable. So what I do is I just ratchet strap it down to the slurry tanker, and the wind is blocked, heavily blocked by the tractor and the tanker as is. So the southwesterly wind be over here, coming this way, and it hits the tractor head on and the tanker, and that should pretty much block a lot of it. Put another ratchet strap up here and another one up here. Just tie it down there towards the pump. Look, it doesn't take long. I'd leave the straps up then for the whole winter, because it does be storms in a regular, far more than we used to have storms before. But look, it's not the end of the world. You better have been safe than sorry. Now I'm going to get these ratchet straps tied up here. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, I'm having desperate trouble with this camera. This is a GoPro Hero 10, by the way, and if it does cut out in the middle of this, I'll have to switch back to 9. I still have one of my 9s down below, but it's giving a lot of trouble. It's not recognising the batteries, and it's kind of all over the place. So I'm hoping it'll stay with us, or it'll be flung. It'll be flung in that bin. Don't worry, I'm not going to throw it in the bin. I'll put it in the recycling. The fittings on this side aren't too bad, but I don't like the look of them. They're well corroded. Lots of cracks here, so we're going to take these off first. Take these 2 pipes off and get 2 new replacement pipes. Plate off. So these are our 2 accumulators. They just screw on and off. What happens is after a few years they fail. And look, there are part that fails quite common on a lot of these. So I have no idea whether these are good or bad. If they are bad, I'll replace them because everything else is good. If they're okay, they'll be staying. So the only way to know really is to put it on the loader and find out. So let's get these 2 pipes off first and see where we're at. That's one. Now, if you think these pipes are okay, they're far from okay. It's more these joints here I'm worried about as well. They're all corroded. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to tip down here and get 2 new pipes for this, and we'll pick it up when I get back. Right, we're back, and we've got 2 brand new pipes to go along with it. I have to pick out which is which. This goes there, and I think this accumulator sits here. I think. Yep. That's our two new pipes on in the right angle, the same as what it was beforehand. So all we have to do now is probably fit it to the tractor. I've got some new bolts and things just to hook it straight on. But I'm not going to do that today because it's pouring rain outside. It's miserable outside. And I was lucky to get done when I did get done because the wind's starting to pick up again. We're getting the other tail end of that storm. The first bit bends you over, and the second bit straightens you back up again. And that's what we're getting there now. So we'll get all new stickers made up for this loader to match exactly what came off it. The whole thing then will be taken apart, sandblasted and painted to make it look new. So at least if it's mechanically good before that happens, that's all we want for now. Now we're back and it is quite a while later. It's actually after Christmas now. What day is today? This is Thursday, so we're heading for New Year's Eve now, New Year's Eve tomorrow, so you're right up to date. Storm passed away, not a bother whatsoever. It actually, the Sunday night after that was actually worse, and it wasn't supposed to hit our place at all. It was just a couple of gusts of wind, which was way worse than the storm ever was, and that's all, it's the way it happens. So I hope you all had a great Christmas, and the big man came, and you had plenty of laughs, plenty of food, what Christmas is all about. So now, let's get this soft drive on. You gonna come out of the way now? Or are you gonna stand there the whole time? Right, so just prop the loader up a little bit so it's not bending down as far, and that's just a nice level for me to work. So that's the bracket there, and there's one in behind there as well that just offset. So I have the bolts and all here with me. They're actually threaded, believe it or not, so hopefully the bolts I have will fit through that knot. I'll just bore them out and put another bolt in its place and put a nut behind it. We're going to use stainless bolts for obvious reasons. They'll last, so stainless bolts is what we're going to be putting in place. We're going to apply a bit of WD-40 on these threads. I am going to still put a nut on the back of it just to keep the whole thing tight. Now I'm not going to allow them bolts just to hold themselves just like that. So what I'm going to do to keep them tight is put a lock nut and a washer behind them. That's that job done. That wasn't hard. So there's our soft drive on there now, and there's our little valve lever that opens and closes it. That's off, that's on as far as I know. Next thing to do is our pipes. So these connections here that you see in the lanes that are coming from the two main rams that are here at the very top, that's the two rams that take the whole sponging effect. So it's not coming from these, it's coming from them two rams there, because that's your two lift rams basically up and down. So this is your two connections here, capped off. All I have to do now is open this and connect these up. The lever, just weighing it up here, just going by what way the rams are, the lever should be on the bottom, as far as I'd be concerned. Yeah, and then the other one on the top. We'll see how that goes, and if that doesn't work, we'll swap them around, but that's what we're going to do now. Let's get at it. Now always when you're opening something like this, make sure your loader is on the ground, because it's coming off the two main rams here, so don't have any pressure on it. That's why I have it on two axle stands here. I've moved around the joystick with the tractor off, so that all the pressure is released, so there shouldn't come very much oil out of these. I take this off the pipe first because it's a wee bit fiddly. So that's the soft drive on. Nothing terribly difficult about that. Hopefully it's all right now. I've got a feeling it's just not going to be as simple as that, because I'm feeling that soft drive has been sitting a while, so it may or may not work. I don't really mind because it's not hard to swing it off again. and get 2 new accumulators for it and just be done with it, because chances there's only probably one that's not working, and whatever one it is, just keep that as a spare. Our valve is quite loose. It may just need to be tightened here on the nut. That's probably all it is. They can be a troublesome little thing, but there really is one way of finding out if it works or not, and that's to try it out. That's definitely not working. Well, that was disappointing. It didn't work. I tried it both ways and neither way would work. So the first thing I'm going to check is these pipes. I'm going to actually swap them around and see what way they'll work the other way around, and see will that make a difference. I'll not film that. I'll just do that now really quick, and then we'll take it for another test drive to see will that cure the problem, and if not, then sadly it basically probably is the accumulators. I can't see it being the valve, because the valve itself isn't leaking or anything, and it does feel nice and solid as you turn it back and forth there. So to me, more than likely it is the accumulators. Right, good news. Our soft drive, it's working. It's working absolutely brilliantly. I just swapped the pipes around. I'm going to show you now in a few minutes, but I swapped the pipes around and instantly started working. But there is a problem. Obviously I showed you this valve before. It has to be open and closing, on and off. I'm not sure if it's working or not, or I'm not sure if it's the accumulators that are at the fault, because it won't turn off. That's the problem I have now. It won't turn off. It's nice and soft. There's lovely cushion in it, but it won't turn off. It's the same whether on or off. I know a lot of men never turn them off, and it's not really what I want to do. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to turn them off when you use them in the yard. It's only really supposed to be for the road, but I do know there's a lot of men out there who never turn them off and use them in the yard the whole time and just leave them as they are. But that is what causes the accumulators to actually go in them. So when I'm in the yard and the tractor's not going back and forth to the farm, I probably will have it turned off. What I will do is, this is a manual valve is on this. I can put a relay valve on that and wire a 12-volt switch somewhere in the dash. I can turn it on and off on a switch. That's much easier if you want to turn them on and off, because having to jump out and manually turn it off and on, that's why probably a lot of people just don't bother and leave it on the whole time. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but you see the sponge on the loader? It's actually working right now. Bizarre. But when I turn it off now, it's off. I'm going to turn it on, it's working flawless. It's very hard to film that. I hope you've seen it there on the ram, you've seen a bit of movement. I could see it because I was sitting nice and solid in the seat, and I could see it easily. And trust me, I could feel it. The whole bounce is gone. That whole banging from the front loader, that's all gone. And that's great. I'm over the moon with that. I'm very happy with that. Didn't take long to do, just had the pipes on the wrong way, unfortunately, the first time, but that's how you learn. You just trial and error and see how you get on. We'll use it for a while and see what it does. Probably eventually I'll switch out that valve there, that manual valve, and put one with a relay on it, a solenoid, and stick a switch somewhere up on the dash. But it's a job ticked off the list. Nice to have. It's a nice extra now on this loader. Starting to rain, it's given a whole wet evening, and I have 2 cows there ready to calve. Calving season has officially started. We have 1 heifer so far just calved there the other night. I showed it on Instagram. If you guys are following us on Instagram, you'll see all that. We'll be putting up live videos of cows calving and what's happening all throughout the calving season. So that's going to be really busy now in the next few days. We have about 4 or 5 cows going to calve. thought they would have calved by now. They're well over their time. They were in on the 22nd, 23rd, but they're going to calve probably all at the one time. It's 29th now, so looking like they're going to hop maybe today or tonight. So it's always usually at night. I'm going to be coming back to this loader in a video very shortly, and I'm going to be carrying out a few repairs as needed. And this bracket is hanging off. The bolt is sheared off down there, so we're going to take that off, clean it all up, strip it down, weld 2 new bolts on there and fit that on, right? Another thing I've noticed is these pins here. These pins here are not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be more like this one here. When you hammer in the pin that goes through here and it's held on by a nut, this part here is welded to the actual loader itself, and this is part of the pin that hammers in, and basically it's a circle cut in half, and it stops the pin from circling round. So this here is supposed to be tight up again that. You're barely supposed to see the split. But this is all ripped away out, and it's the same on the far side. It's ripped all the way out as well. So we have a few repairs to do on this loader and just tidy it up. Another thing that has to be done is I have a switch for this tractor I haven't put on yet, which will control the PTO on and off. I find that they're brilliant. I've always had them in all the rest of the tractors that are like this, so I'm going to wire one of those in as well. So I'm just going to show you our little heifer calf that came here before we do finish off. Heading down here just to check on the 2 cows here that are not far off calving. Yep, I need to get the calving pen set out. I haven't movement, but we know what's going to happen. Now normally if this all works out, this cow will be standing at the door. She'll practically come running out when I open the door because they know their time. So let's just see will that happen. Well, there's 2 of them here, but it's just the one I want here. She's going to calve tonight. So she just blocked the other one off. Come on, come on, come on. You can see there Arthur walking away. Go on, you're not far off either. No, you certainly are not. Well, this girl here is way out. Her and her will be next. So we'll see them later on the day. We're running for the calving pen, and they're so used to the routine now themselves. They can nearly open and close the gates themselves. Yeah, I'd say she'll calve later on, hopefully today. We don't want the 3 of them calving the night. The other 2 are very, very close as well, but I don't think they're going to calve till night time. So hopefully we can get this one out of the way, at least this one out of the way. The other night we had the second oldest cow calved in the farm, but this one here, 547, she is the actual oldest cow. Although we call her old, she's not that terribly old to us. We keep her herd fairly young, but she's nice and fit and in good condition, so she'll have no problems calving and should be a nice handy calf. That's her, ready to go. So before we do end today's video, I'm going to have a quick look at the little calf that popped the other night. And Mrs. That's it. That's the start of the whole roller coaster again, and the whole cycle starts all over again. So it's going to be a busy few months ahead. It's all about to kick into full swing now. So anyway, folks, I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks very much for watching as always. If you haven't subbed, you want to see more of this kind of stuff or what's happening with this loader, because we will come back to it, you know what to do. Hit that sub button, give us a like. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and we're on TikTok. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again. What's up? And they're just eagerly watching me. Milk. That's all they want.